Hey, what's the deal? This your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag. You know what I mean? As of this recording, it is 5:30 p.m. June 1st, 2026. You know what I mean? But this video is going up at 11:30. You know what I mean? Because a motherfucker is tired. I'm tired. You know what I mean? I'm fucking tired as shit. You know what I mean? I'm tired. You know, I just came out of work. You know what I mean? I just finished cooking. You know what I'm saying? Right now, just watching the news. You know, I didn't even know Raw was, you know, what was on. You know what I mean? Like Raw was on earlier today. You know what I mean? You know, I think there was in Italy still. I'm not sure. I mean, like I'm fucking tired. You know what I mean? I'm tired than a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But listen, you know, WWE right now is on a low. You know what I mean? Especially going towards, you know, this is SummerSlam season. You know, you got the King of the Ring. You got the King of the Ring tournament going on. I think Obafemi's going to win. You know what I mean? Especially if WWE's trying to create a new star, I think Obafemi would be the best option to do. You know what I mean? I know he'd be the best option to do. You know what I mean? To win it all. It makes sense. It makes so much sense. You know? But it's not about Oba. It's not about, you know, it is about WWE, but it's not about Oba or the King of the Ring and such. It's about one Mike Santana. You know what I mean? TNA's own Mike Santana. You know Mike Santana, right? Who used to be part of LAX. He came on his own. You know what I mean? He's been tearing shit up. The Puerto Rican sensation. I'm Puerto Rican also, so I can say anything the fuck I want to say. But his contract is actually coming up at the end of July, right? His contract is set to expire in July, and I'm expecting him to be WWE-bound. You know what I mean? He's definitely not going back to no fucking AEW. You know what I'm saying? That's for fucking sure. You know, I know him and Ortiz, they don't speak. Like whatever problems that they got, you know what I mean? Like that's, you know, that's something completely different. You know what I mean? Like we could be looking at a situation where, you know, not only, you know, Mike Santana goes to WWE, but also Leon Slater. You know what I mean? And I mean, they're already set to sign other people. You know what I mean? Like they got Baron Corbin more than likely on the way. More than likely they got Enzo and Cass on the way. Now, I mean, Big Cass's contract is not up yet, but you know he's coming back. Especially they got Enzo, right? Big Bill. You know. Listen, they bring Mike Santana to NXT and they build him up. You know what I mean? He'll definitely be a force to be reckoned with. You know, because, you know, like I said, the relationship is still on and popping between WWE and TNA. Still on and popping. And so, you know, I would not be shocked. It wouldn't be shocked. It wouldn't be shocking to me. Know what I mean? And then if he does come, if and when he does come, right, I'll do you one even better, right? I would actually expect him to be in WWE, you know, officially on a full-time basis, possibly by, I'm going to say, close to Survivor Series. I'll say that. Now, I mean, I'll say close to, you know, close to when they get to Survivor Series and shit. Then I would say that he'll be, you know, he will already be on the WWE roster. Right? I mean, you know, the thing is, more than likely they'll have him on NXT. They'll build him up, and then they'll call him up to the main roster. You know what I mean? Listen, Mike Santana's fucking great. You know, he's a great wrestler. He showed that he busts his ass to get to where he needs to get to. You know what I mean? And yeah, you know, I mean, listen, he's done everything he could in TNA. There's nothing else that he can do. You know what I mean? TNA has kind of softened on him. I think because, you know, they reached their stocking point with Mike Santana. Right? And so, you know, where else can he go? Where else can Mike Santana go? Right? Where else can he go? Sign with WWE. Now, I mean, like I said, I'm expecting him to sign with WWE. You know what I mean? It's a foregone conclusion that he's going to be signing with WWE. No doubt about it. No fucking doubt about it. I mean, WWE they're already signing people anyway. You know what I mean? Like they've already got their hands on or their eyes on certain people that they want. You know what I mean? So he's one of those people that I know they're gonna want. You know what I mean? And I know he's gonna fucking be there. Again, NXT needs people. You know what I mean? They definitely need people. And so that's where Mike Santana comes in. And yes, NXT does have people there already. You know what I mean? Like they got fucking, they got Tony D'Angelo, they got Kiana Carver, they got people there. They definitely got people, but they want to, build up on some people that they have. Like I said, Kiana Carver's there. I think, Shaquan Sugars is going to be a star. They got, they just got Evil from New Japan Pro Wrestling. They got people there, no doubt about it. You know what I mean? But of course, they want to continue that TNA, that TNA push, and it makes sense. It makes a whole lot of sense. Hold on real quick. Now, the other story, sorry about that. You know what I mean? I had to, answer the phone. But the other story I wanted to bring up too is Nikkita Lyons, right? Nikkita Lyons. So Nikkita Lyons originally was set to, to get called up to the main roster, right? Over the summer, but it doesn't appear that way. Now, I mean, WWE has been impressed with the work of Nikkita Lyons, especially returning from injury and shit. And, they want her to, continue to work Evolve and NXT moving forward. Now, Nikkita, first and foremost, right? Nikkita Lyons is a dime. She is a dime, no doubt about it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be honest with you. I'm not into white women like that. I'm really not. But her ass is nice. Her ass is nice. Like, the one thing, I'll keep it a stack with you. The one thing that WWE and AEW definitely have in common a lot, right? That I like is dimes. Like, I love dimes. You know what I mean? Like, y'all know how much I love dimes. WWE got cakes. AEW definitely got cakes. They clearly got cakes. You know what I mean? And Nikkita Lyons, Nikkita Lyons definitely have a lot of cakes there. The thing with Nikkita Lyons, though, is she's decent. You know what I mean? She's good in the ring. But I think she's still a little bit green. I definitely think she's still a little bit green and shit. And so I think she's been down in NXT for like 6 to 7 years. You know what I mean? Almost like Ty Dillinger. Remember, Ty Dillinger was down there for like mad long before he found a gimmick. Ty Dillinger, who now goes by Sean Spears in NXT. Remember, he found a gimmick. You know what I mean? That really, solidified him. The 10 shit. You know what I mean? But Nikkita Lyons, like I said, Nikkita Lyons been there since God knows how long, right? And, like, she's not, like I said before, I'm going to say this again, she's not bad in the ring. You know what I mean? She's really, really not bad in the ring. But I just think that, she's just there, to get, to get some, get some more, to squeeze some more of that green out. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, like she's fucking eye candy. Like she is eye candy, without a shadow of a doubt. You know what I mean? And a white girl doing this. Like, god damn, like that booty is just. Now the thing is, I don't know if that booty is fake or is natural. You know what I mean? But and like I said, I'm kind of like a little skeptical about white women too, because with white women. They don't really age well. Like when they get a little older, they really don't. You know what I mean? So it's like, if she keeps herself, if she keeps herself in shape and stuff, then yeah, she definitely might have something. You know what I mean? But like I said, she's okay in the ring. She's not the greatest, you know what I mean? She's not the greatest, female wrestler of all time. She's not, like she's nowhere near like the best. You know what I mean? But I keep it stacked with y'all. If she can have a booty off, oh man, a booty off with some of the women that's there. Oh my God. You know what I mean? That would be insane. You know what I mean? So, and let me also say this. If she goes to the main roster, I don't expect WWE to like completely push her to the moon. I think she'll be, me personally, I think she'll be like where B-Fab and Meechin is at, in that level. You know what I mean? Because with Nikkita Lyons, you can actually put her in like some sort of group. Now, I mean, you could put her in some sort of faction shape. You could put in the same faction that you got fucking Jade, B-Fab, and Meechin. You could put it there. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, Nikkita Lyons, I don't know. I think, it is time for her to go up to the main roster, but I don't really see anything spectacular with Nikkita Lyons. I mean, like I said, they still got Kalani Jordan. They got people down there in NXT that they could build on, So we'll see what happens. I'm going to holler at y'all. You know what I mean? I got work in the morning. You know what I mean? So I'm going to definitely holler at y'all mañana. Peace.